Hi, I'm Gwen Preston of Resource Maven. This is part 3 of a small series on how to manage risk or improve your odds when you're betting in the mining space. Alright, so this is part 3 of the video. In part 1, I talked about timing your moves with macro forces in the sector. In part 2, I talked about how important it is to take capital off the table whenever you're given the opportunity, because no matter how far you think a story might go, there are really no guarantees in the exploration and mining game. Today in part 3, I want to talk about details, about information, about how much information there is to manage and keep up with when you're trying to invest in this sector. There's just so many details. The obvious one is exploration news, but that's only the most obvious of the pieces of information that you have to keep up with. There's also financings and the free trade dates and warrant overhangs that those financings can create. There's changes perhaps to board or management that may or may not involve new buying or selling or funds entering or exiting. There may be promotion efforts planned around the stock. There may be geopolitical factors to consider about the country or part of the world where the company is operating. There are a lot of factors to keep your head wrapped around when it comes to even just one stock, let alone a whole portfolio of stocks. The reason that I bring this to your attention isn't just to sort of scare you or overwhelm you. It's to say you need to figure out a way of managing that aspect of this game. And I'd say that means you need to have someone on your side who spends all of their time doing this kind of thing. That person could be a broker. There's brokers out there for sure who are focused on this industry and who make it their day-to-day job to wrap their head around the goings-on and the opportunities. Maybe you have a friend or know a fund manager who's also focused on resources, or a geologist who has that big picture interest in the sector and keeps up with the goings-on. You need to have somebody on your side who pays attention and can manage these kinds of risks. Of course, the other option when it comes to that is a newsletter writer like myself, who I spend all of my days making sure that I know all of the aspects that are going on with the companies in my portfolio and more broadly in the sector, so that I can manage the cycles of the sector, the patterns, the macro forces, and the details within each stock. Of course, I want to say you should all just subscribe to my newsletter, and that's certainly one option. But you don't have to subscribe to my letter. The point is just to make sure you have some way, you've addressed the fact that this is a really information-heavy sector. There's a lot of things that you need to keep up with. And for the average retail investor who has a job and a family and simply a life to keep up with, it's almost impossible to do that, to keep up with these things on the side. So if that's what you're trying to do, think about trying to find someone to help you with that side job, because really it's a full-time job and there's people out there who can really be on your side.